Hey, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, City of Las Vegas Communications Director David Riggleman. New housing and business developments are coming to the Las Vegas Medical District. And what do you want to see in your city parks? Tours and surveys have been conducted to bring the changes that the residents want to Ward 1. The Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs will join us for that discussion a little bit later on in the show. Here to talk about these topics and much more is our Mayor Pro Tem, Brian Knudsen, who also represents Ward 1. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me.
We are into the heat of the summer. It's finally got here.
It hit this week.
Yeah,
here we
boom.
are.
So welcome to July.
And, more air conditioning, more indoors.
Right.
Yep.
It's what we do here. It's how we survive the summer. But you know Ward 1 very well. That's your stomping grounds. For those of you out there not exactly sure where Ward 1 is located, we're going to show you right there on the map. It's really the heart of the city there. Encompasses the area really from the Springs Preserve, if you will, all the way out into the northwest. Mm-hmm. And you know, your ward, it's funny, Councilman, really has moved to the west and to the north more so than when you first were elected. It's interesting.
I think it's a pretty diverse ward. I get in the habit of telling people like what it looks like. So for me, I represent the richest of the rich, the poorest of the poor, and everybody in between. And the big chunk of the central part of Ward 1 is the people who built Las Vegas, the people who were union workers, they're iron workers, they're electricians, they're plumbers, and they're the ones that built the Strip, and they retired right in the heart of Las Vegas. So it's a great place to represent.
It's interesting, too, because your ward extends all the way now to Buffalo and Lake Mead, which is pretty far to the west. And encompasses some great things like all those restaurants, Slater's 50/50, and some of those places. That
and
are
Betty Wilson Soccer Complex.
Betty Wilson. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's super fun, diverse ward.
Yeah. So Mayor Pro Tem fills in for the mayor when she's not available and also represents Ward 1. So one of the crown jewels of Ward 1, of course, is the Las Vegas Medical District. And since you've been in office, boy, we've really seen such great progress there. The idea, everyone, is to try to have a central place for top-level, top-quality medical care in the Valley. And that's really coming to fruition.
Yeah, I say this pretty regularly. I believe the medical district will be completely built out in about 3 years, with the exception of a couple of parcels here and there.
It's amazing.
And everybody can see now there's so much construction going on. So you see it on the Charleston corridor, you're going to see it on the Rancho corridor, Shadow, Pinto. That's the public part of it. The private part is immediately following. And so you're going to see tractors out there and dirt being moved and cranes going in. So it's going to be a lot of construction, and then it's going to be better health care. It's going to be a place for the doctors and nurses and healthcare workers to live, work, and play. And ultimately, it will improve healthcare. And that's what I talk about. In the last council meeting, we approved a new apartment complex with a parking structure. And it may sound like an apartment complex, but it's a place for residents to live. Residents being medical residents, new nurses, people to live there. That's going to make them want to stay in the medical district.
Well, it's so important because the UNLV School of Medicine located there. Of course, you've got the hospitals, Valley, UMC are anchors there as well. And that whole complex is just continuing to grow and grow and grow and attract that high level of quality. You know, in the past, Councilman, we've talked about this. People, if they wanted high level medical care, would often leave Las Vegas to go to California or to Arizona or wherever it might be to try to find better quality care. But now, a lot of people can just stay right here because that care is really improved.
And it's going to get better. And what I think it's important to point out is people who leave the state can leave the state. They have resources to leave the state. That's not what Nevada is. Nevada has to deal with the health care that we have, and we simply don't have enough doctors, nurses, social workers, mental health workers. We don't have enough of that. So building place, I think, attracts and helps to retain some of those high-quality professionals, and that's my job, I think, in making the land use appropriate, land use decisions that are appropriate for impacting healthcare.
Yeah, to allow that to happen, exactly right. Councilman, what's next for the medical district? With a lot of progress. The School of Medicine there from UNLV, that's an amazing facility. What's next?
You're going to see in the medical district, outside of the road work, public works construction, you're going to see an apartment complex going up or breaking ground probably in October. You're going to see a public health lab and facility and a mental health and ambulatory care services going in and breaking ground probably about a year from now. In about 6 months, you'll see breaking ground for a hotel, a parking garage, 100,000 square feet of medical office space. And then there's a women's cancer center that's going to be breaking ground any week now. So it's going to be a lot of new buildings going in.
You have to be thrilled.
I think it's time is coming. We desperately need to improve healthcare. This is my piece of the puzzle and how we can do that.
There's such an inertial effect on things like this. It's so hard to get it moving initially, but once it gets moving, it just tends to pick up momentum, and that's really what we're seeing in the medical district now.
And it's been really fun, and really kudos to all the private sector and government partners that came together and recognized that this is how we can improve healthcare in Southern Nevada.
Yeah. I'm so glad to hear that there's going to be an opportunity for a mental health facility there, because we hear over and over and over from the public that there is just a lack of facilities to treat people for mental illness here in Las Vegas.
I think in our maybe next Access City Council, we can talk about all of the work that myself and several other elected officials are working on to improve mental health care, specifically around crisis response.
Right.
I think we could talk about those who are experiencing homelessness all day on this show. We've, as a community of public officials, have been working diligently over the past 6 months on strategies to improve that. And I think by the next Access City Council, we'll probably be able to share some of the successes we'll see in the next couple of years.
Yeah, it'll be about 6 weeks down the road. So
we'll be ready.
Looking forward to that. Of course, Councilman, right alongside the medical district is good old Charleston Boulevard, and a little bit of work going on there.
Yes, so, I feel terrible for the business shops in there. It's a really tough environment right now because people avoid Charleston. And if you have the chance to go out and go to DeBella's or go to Starburst Parlor or go to the Omelet House, please do, because those businesses need your business. And
don't forget them right now.
I'm sorry there's construction. It'll be so much better if they can just hold out for a year or so. It's going to be a lot better for everybody. But if you have the opportunity, go and buy some stuff.
Yeah, still frequent those places.
Yeah.
You can get there. There's places to park and all that. You'll get there. It'll be all right. So
get used to the cones. It'll be there for a while. It'll be fine.
Tell everybody a little bit about that project, because once it's finished, it's always that part in our dust, because once it's done, it's really going to be vastly improved.
It's going to be great. If you drive down Shadow Lane, it'll look just like Shadow Lane right now between Charleston and Alta. That's the complete section. So the power lines will be undergrounded. There'll be new street lights. The sidewalks will be 12 to 15 feet with tree-lined streets. There'll be a BRT, a bus rapid transit, that connects the UNLV campus to the Bonneville Transit Center to the medical district. And so it's designed to improve traffic quality, but also make a much more walkable area. That's ultimately what I think we need to move towards, is getting people up and out of their cars and walking to their final destinations.
Well, especially, Councilman, you were talking about the medical district and all the facilities that are going to be located in the medical district. We want people to be able to walk between those and around those versus having to get in their car to get to the facilities that are going to be literally just blocks away. So.
Yeah, and all of this affects me just as much as anybody else. I live a half a mile from it.
Yep.
So as someone who frequents the downtown core, I think it's very important to connect the medical district to the arts district, to the entertainment district, to the government district.
Right.
There's so many things that are within a couple of miles of each other. If you're a runner, it's great to run around them. What we're doing is making it accessible for walking and running and jogging and biking and pushing strollers down, because ultimately we want those who live a few miles, up to 5 miles away, to be able to walk into our downtown core, spend money on local businesses, and enjoy the fruits of the labor of the city of Las Vegas and all the businesses that support it.
Exactly. Councilman, there's a little bit of confusion. People are thinking, oh, the number of lanes are going to be reduced on Charleston. It's not going to be 3 lanes in each direction. It's going to be less than. Not true. The plan is still to have 3 lanes in each direction.
It's just as much lanes. We'll just have more walkable space. That was very challenging in my first couple of months as a city councilman, as the city did work with some of those private sector partners along the side to hopefully take it in a good, willing seller, but sometimes it wasn't willing. We took their property in order to make it a more walkable environment for everybody, because it's so important and critical to that future of the medical district.
Well, we saw in some of the video there, or the areas that are yet to be worked on, the sidewalk's pretty narrow there.
And dangerous. It's a very busy street, and I haven't pushed a stroller down Charleston, but I have ran down Charleston many times.
Yeah, you're a runner.
And there's light poles in the middle, there's fire hydrants in the middle, there's utility boxes that kind of stick out of the sidewalk. The sidewalk's uneven. It's a dangerous place. And if we really want to recruit people to walk into the downtown core, it's dangerous right now. It won't be a year from now.
We like that. That's what I was going to ask, Council. What's the time frame for all the work on Charleston and maybe even the areas around it?
So Charleston is right now, I'm just going to say a year. I think that's a good time frame. And then we'll immediately go to Rancho. And all of Rancho between 95 and Sahara, we're going to do the exact same thing to that. So it is painful. I live in that area. It's a lot of construction. Every cone is a couple of jobs out there. So people are getting paid, and we want them to spend money in Las Vegas, and that's good for our overall environment. And it'll make it a better driving environment when it's all done.
When is the Rancho project going to be
As soon as Charleston is done.
As soon as Charleston, about a year from now, then we move over to Rancho.
Yeah.
You know, I got to tell you, it's time. Some of those stretches of Rancho, especially right around the Charleston area, the roads, it's looking a little worn there. Yeah.
It's the roads and everything underneath the roads. So we just replaced the sewer lining on Rancho. That was just critical infrastructure that has to be replaced. The water pipes, the utility lines, all of those things need to be upgraded. It's the oldest part of our community.
And that's the king, yeah.
And so I know people are anxious about it, but I'm going to push back and say, guess what? Your property values are going to stay steady or go up because we're improving the area around it. So
absolutely,
hold on to the things that matter most. Your property values matter. We're going to do everything we can as a government to improve everything around your property. So work with us.
Yeah, exactly. And that's so important because really, you hit it on the head. The infrastructure under the street there, things like sewer lines, been there a long time, and you got all that growth that's now west of that area. It's got to go somewhere, and so you need to have the capacity to be able to move all of that through and not have anything fail. That's going to be the main thing as well.
That's right. And there's a lot of people moving into that area, and with all the new apartment complexes that are going to come in, it's going to look different. It's going to feel different. Property values will go up. I'm very confident of that. Healthcare will improve. We'll be able to walk into downtown. Very proud of the work being done by the City of Las Vegas and all of our partners.
Right. Yeah, very well said. Thank you, Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem. And also, want to talk about this. You had a Brews with Brian back on June 22nd. I love how you just get out with the community. You either do brews as in beer brews or brews as in coffee brews, and just chat with people about whatever their issues are, whether it's in the morning or in the evening or whenever. And you always get great turnouts at these things.
Yeah, and I think most people know this about me. Like, I'm not a huge talker. I like to listen more than talk. That's why I always have a guest on the show, because I don't like to talk that much. So Brews with Brian is an opportunity for me to sit down and have a drink, and everyone will come up and start sharing their woes and their concerns and their issues. And sometimes they'll come and just say thanks for everything. And it's a great way to connect with me and let me know what's important, because I think in my head, I'm thinking politics are very busy and noisy, and you never really know what's real until you break bread with someone or have a drink with someone. And then you get to know what people are really thinking and caring about, and that's why I like that event. So this last Brews with Brian was at the Tavern. It's right off of Rainbow and Charleston, and it's a great business. It's a brand new business owner. He did a really great job.
That looks nice,
renovating, and great customer service there, and it's super fun.
What were folks telling you? What are their issues in that area that they wanted to bring to your attention?
Let's see. So we get parked cars. That's a big one. Traffic concerns is a big one. Neighborhood safety. So we're lucky to have Cindy Lopez from the Deputy City Marshals.
She does a great job.
Who came out there. Code enforcement issues. Those are the things, and it's what I take from it is people are trying to protect and preserve their neighborhoods. And that's a big part of my job, is making sure that the city is an active partner in protecting and preserving neighborhoods throughout my ward.
Some of your colleagues have been on the program, and we've talked about specifically Kias and Hyundais that have been stolen. Are you hearing that a lot in Ward 1? Is that something you're hearing as well?
I think I have, it's abandoned cars, so my guess is, I don't know what brand they are, but my guess is some of them are stolen, and so that's a frequent request is, can you have somebody come and check out a car? It's been there for 3 or 4 days. If you have a parked car near you and it doesn't belong there, we should get parking enforcement out there to check it out.
Get it, and they'll do a great job of getting the car removed, and then also hopefully to try to find the owner if it's been stolen and then abandoned there. But we should mention to everyone out there, a lot of Hyundais, a lot of Kias are prone to be stolen. And as a result, through Metro, you can get and through the dealers of those cars, a club, basically a device that will lock the steering wheel, so it makes it a lot more difficult to steal the vehicle.
There's little simple things that Metro always comes up with that helps prevent crime more than anything else.
Exactly, they do.
So don't be a victim, be proactive to protect yourself and your property.
Yeah, Sheriff McMahill has been a guest on this program, doing a a great job over there.
Crime's reduced dramatically since Sheriff McMahill took over. And in Ward 1 in particular, we've seen a dramatic decrease in crime. From property crimes to violent crimes, it's been decreasing dramatically. And I spend a lot of time with the Metropolitan Police Department. The officers are happy, they're engaged, they're out there patrolling the streets, they care. I think it's a great time to be a police officer, and they're doing a great job protecting our city.
Yeah, and he's come in, done a great job. He's doing an excellent job as sheriff, and he's a good man all the way around.
Very good.
And then, Councilman, I love this. We love volunteers. We love when people roll up their sleeves and help us do all kinds of things. And you had an army of people show up at Rotary Park recently to do a big park cleanup, and we want to show.
Get Outdoors Nevada does an awesome job of recruiting volunteers, and they work with, I think, all the county commissioners and all the city of Las Vegas wards and their ward elected officials, and they're always out there making sure our parks and trails are clean. So I should thank them. They
cleaned up all kinds of trash, what we call the micro trash. It's the things that our parks crews aren't going to have the time or the ability to get to every little thing. We're talking about cigarette butts, wrappers, little things that get, the wind blows, get caught in the bushes, and these folks go through and just, God, they get everything out of there.
So. It's a great way to get to know this city and the county's park system. Like, get out and know what's out there, because we have some of the best parks in the country.
We certainly do. And is this correct? How many pounds of micro trash did you get out of there? It was like,
it's so many. I have no idea. It always shocks me because they weigh it. They put it in bags and then weigh it on a scale, and it's thousands. I mean, it's a lot of pounds.
It is.
And it's not for every ward. Like, they're collecting lots and lots of stuff.
Don't throw stuff on the ground, folks. I mean, we're collecting that much stuff.
I think it's just common sense. I have to teach my kids, if you drop something, pick it up. But for others, we have to recruit volunteers to take care of them.
I know, and that's what happens. And when they're that busy and they're picking up that much stuff, that says something about all of us as a society. It's like, we need to maybe.
And it's stuff that goes into the sewer system and our water system.
Exactly.
So, like, it behooves you to just take care of yourself and
put
those
it in
things
the trash
around
bin.
you.
Yeah, put it in the trash can. It obviously will make a big difference here. So, well, Councilman, all of this is a great lead in to our upcoming guest. Director Steve Ford oversees our beautiful parks in the city, and he'll give us some updates on what's coming to Ward 1 parks. We'll do that right after this quick break, so please stay with us.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing.
I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels.
After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak.
Meals on Wheels, coming to my door as someone who's housebound, having someone check on me, assures me that I'm not forgotten.
Meals on Wheels has given me a mode of freedom that I wouldn't have otherwise.
We're the clients.
We are the clients.
We are the clients of Meals on Wheels.
America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Welcome back, everyone. Joining us now is Steve Ford, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs for the City of Las Vegas. He has some very exciting information about what's next for our parks. Steve, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
So, Mayor Pro Tem, you and Steve recently did a little touring of the Ward 1 parks, right?
Mr. Ford took us out to all of our Ward 1 parks.
All?
We had not all of them. There's a lot of Ward 1 parks. The city has an enormous amount of parks, and so we hit the highlights. We talked about all of them.
Wow.
So we took out the Ward 1 team plus our parks commissioners. Mr. Breer and Alejandro, who used to be at Get Outdoors Nevada, is our parks commissioner. And so it was kind of going through the projects that we have set up for this year, and a good conversation around what the constituents expect and what they want to see and what's important to us. And he knows it all. He's
Well,
got it
Steve,
all
fill
done.
us in. What's next? What are some of the highlights coming for the folks in Ward 1?
So in Ward 1, we have stuff going on in almost every single park in Ward 1
Wow.
at this point. It's either just happening now, or in design that will be done within the next year to year and a half. We just recently completed two council meetings ago. The council approved the parks element of the master plan.
Right.
And that was a big help. There was a survey taken in 2021, had about 2,000 respondents on what the next things are that people are looking forward to. And that took into account both the parks items as well as the recreation side, so our community centers, things we do in our community centers. So that's going to be our guidepost and a framework going over the next 25 years to see what we can do, how we can transform parks. Mayor Pro Tem and I have had brief conversations on how we, as he mentioned, have your kids grow up in them and what we can do to transform those as people change, demographics change, those types of things. So we're trying to be flexible, but still trying to figure out what is going to happen in the future.
So, Steve, what are some of the highlights? What are some of the things that we talked about that at the council? I think we're familiar with what was what we heard from the public. Why don't you enlighten the viewers if they're not familiar? What were some of the main things that we were hearing?
So some of the big things were not surprising, right? People want to be outside. They want walking paths. They want shade structures. They want places with trees. Some of the sporting things that are big out there. Pickleball obviously is a big thing out there now. Met with some residents the other day about wanting to get more diamonds, ball diamonds, because that's one thing that the survey showed is that we have a lack of baseball diamonds. We have a lot of rectangular fields, but we have a lack of ball diamonds. So that's one thing I'm going to be working on over the next couple of years. How do we do that? Because obviously we're on the pickleball side. We've got the big project that's going to be happening in Ward 4. Some of the stuff we've been doing recently is just repurposing unused areas of parks. We've taken a shuffleboard court in Ward 3, and most of the people there had no idea what shuffleboard even was.
Yes, so it's kind of not played too much anymore. Yeah.
So we took that area and created pickleball courts. So we're taking areas that are of unused or underutilized areas in parks and creating these. Well, diamonds are a little bit different because you need space. You need a lot more.
Steve, this is for baseball, softball.
Mostly Little League. So we have
Little League. Okay.
We have the big Majestic Park, which is our big softball diamond. We have a lot of Little League diamonds. We only have one really adult baseball field that we utilize. So and again, the survey showed that we have a lack of diamonds. And that's one thing we're going to be working on as well.
Mayor Pro Tem, what are some of your impressions with the tour? What are some of the things that you'd like to see more of or change within the city parks, or have Steve and his team work on?
So we have a lot of stuff going on in Ward 1 too, not just Ward 4 and Ward 3. we have some.
True.
I'm just kidding.
That's what I say. We have almost every park in Ward 1. We have something going on.
See, there you go.
Steve has a big job. It's not just all the parks. I don't even know how many parks we have. It's 85. A lot. 85 parks, and they're big, beautiful, amazing structures. We also have the community centers and all the programming that happens within the community centers. So one of the things that last week I was able to congratulate the Rainbow Youth Theater Company. I'm providing them lunch and certificates, not because of the amazing work they do, but because the amazing work they did with my son. And so I have a hard time recommending anything that I wouldn't do myself. So I enrolled my son
good for him.
in the camp, and we've done private camps, and the City of Las Vegas camp at Charleston Hyde Art Center with the Rainbow Youth Theater Company was absolutely amazing.
That's awesome.
He just absolutely loved it.
Good.
And so it's not just the grass and the trees and the courts that Steve manages, it's the hundreds of employees that are in our community centers that are maintaining the parks and the trees. It's a big department, it's a big thing. It's what people know the government is and does. And Steve and his team have done just an amazing job connecting our resources to our community.
And Steve hit it on the head, because it's the parks themselves, the outside stuff, and then there's all the stuff that we do within our recreation centers too, and there are a lot of programs. So let's talk about that, Steve. We have a lot of offerings across the city.
We do. We the breadth of the things that we do within the department is huge, as Mayor Pro Tem mentioned. Within the community centers, we have a total of 11 community centers, recreation centers, active adult centers that have a very wide range of activities from adaptive and accessible programming, to the senior programming that we have, the active adult programming, to our tournaments and our rec leagues, the basketball leagues. We have a great setup over at Mirabelli that's in Ward 1. Speaking of camps, we had yesterday we had an all STEAM camp where we had almost 700 kids show up at this camp, and Mirabelli was a big part of that. And so we do offer a lot of different programming.
Super.
Everything from the basketball leagues to the big tournaments that we have here in town.
Steve, we help get the word out with your department. Tell everybody how to find that information if they're trying to get their kids signed up for something or participate in something themselves.
Sure. So our website is the city website, lasvegasnevada.gov, and we have a page on there that has all of the sign up, all of the programming that you can navigate to. But it's on that website. It's right up front and center.
And it's pretty easy because
really
I have
easy.
to do for Andrew and Kate, I do their name and their age, and it kind of says here's all the things that are available to them, and you can pick the community centers that are closest to you. I've participated with my kids in multiple programs that the city offers.
Good.
Highly recommended if you're a parent out there, because the city does a really great job.
Thank you. Well, yes, we do. My staff, the folks in Parks and Rec, are really, really dedicated to providing that top-notch service to all the residents.
And in the Ward 1, we have the Charleston High Art Center, which is under Cultural Affairs within your department.
Yes.
We have Mirabelli Community Center, which is pre-K programming, and am I right?
Yes, we've got pre-K programming there all the way up to league basketball.
And they're doing summer camps there, and then they have some gymnastics programming as well.
Yes, we do.
And then we have Leeburn Senior or Active Adult Center, and so I'm out there pretty regularly talking to people.
Leeburn is great. We've got some great active adults
Right next door to Mirabelli. Yep.
And today marks the day where I start formally advocating for an additional community center in Ward 1.
All right.
So this is warning.
You've heard it here.
For the director.
Breaking news, everyone. Breaking news.
I come on strong when I'm ready. I'm coming on strong.
Okay, look out.
And it is needed. Part of the master plan showed the holes. We call the holes in the city where we have a lack of services, both in parks and community centers. And Ward 1 has a pretty good hole.
All right.
They're lacking. So
sounds like he's ready to fix that.
Exactly. Absolutely.
I have a job to do.
Steve, we are just about out of time. We got about 30 seconds. Anything else you want to have a final word on?
No, I just really appreciate all the support from Mayor Pro Tem. He's been great to work with. And I know that he has the concerns and the issues of the residents at heart and is trying hard to fix those, and we are here to support that.
All right. Well, great to have you on the program,
Thank
Steve
you.
Ford. Thank you so much for everything. Councilman, we're about out of time here. We want to tell everybody out there, hey, we always want to hear from you, so if there's something you'd like to share with Councilman Brian Knudsen, you can find him on Facebook and Twitter. You can also contact our Mayor Pro Tem at 702-229-6405 or send him an email. His address is bknudsen@lasvegasnevada.gov. And he or one of his great staff will get right back to you and help you out with what's going on. So, Councilman, thanks so much. We really appreciate you. We'll see you in 6 weeks with another update from Ward 1 from Mayor Pro Tem. Steve, thank you again. We appreciate you being on the show. And folks, don't miss our next show beginning on July 13th with Ward 3 City Councilwoman Olivia Diaz. You can now catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Also, watch for our QR code during the closing credits of this show to subscribe to our newsletter. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time around.